YouTube Shorts.
Dad, I don't know what to do.
You don't know what to do? Caleb, I've been over this with you a bunch of times. You can do it. Let's do it. I want to get this in one take. Action. Yes, you took it. One take. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Marching Through 39. Gonna do something a little different today. This is just gonna be one take. So whatever I say here is not gonna be edited. So you might hear a bunch of uhs and buts and sniffles and mess ups, but whatever. I'm just gonna ramble. It usually takes me, if you can believe this, for the junk I put out, it can take me a couple hours every night to compile all that together sometimes. It's kind of a hassle. I like doing it, but sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing until like 8 o'clock at night. I'm like, oh gosh, I gotta hurry up and cobble something together. And you can probably tell when during the ones I cobble together, they're not as good. So this is just gonna be one take. I don't know what it's gonna be, but I don't know. I'm just talking. I wanted to say something that I'm going to admit that a lot of people might not know that watch this channel is from around 2000 to about 2015-ish range. I loved to watch reality TV shows. I know. See, I can't edit out that But I feel like during that part of history, there just wasn't that much on TV to watch that was any good. I didn't have like HBO. I couldn't watch The Sopranos. And, I just had basic cable for the most part. And I just remember, and this is long before Kayla, we were watching like Disney Channel and stuff. There wasn't much on. So if you can go all the way back to the year 2000, in the year 2000, summer, there was a little show called Survivor. And if you were around during that time, you will remember what a phenomenon it became. Like, it was must-see TV. I think everyone in the country was watching this show. I think it came on Wednesdays at that time. I kind of remember that. And I had missed like the first 3 episodes. I didn't even know what it was. I remember my mom was telling me one day, she's like, have you seen this show called Survivor? And I was like, no, I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is. So she's like, oh my God, you gotta watch it. There's people on an island, then they vote them out and they have to leave right there. And I'm like, okay. So I watched the next episode. I think it was like episode 4. And I was hooked. Of course, watched the rest of the season. I remember on finale night, I couldn't watch it because I was working at a 1-hour photo processing place. I know, we're going way back here, where I was processing film and pictures, and I worked till like 11 or sometimes even midnight doing that. And my mom, I think, recorded it on a VCR for me. And then when I went to get it after work, the power was out. The power was out at my apartment. It was out at her house. It was like some horrible storm. So I had to wait till like the next day to watch it. It was killing me, but of course I watched it. I loved it. It was amazing. Also during that time, it's like 25 degrees outside. I think it's like 35, but it feels like it's 5. Also during that time, Big Brother came on that same summer. The first season was absolutely atrocious, but I hung in there, and I don't know how the show survived that first season. I am recording, right? Because that would be a disaster. That'd be a disaster if I wasn't. After that first season, it survived, and I have watched every season of Big Brother every summer except for season 4. That was the only season I missed because I was working nights. But I've seen every other season. I still love the show. I watched Amazing Race. I was all in on that for about 10 seasons. I fell off of Survivor around season like 34. I just kind of finally grew out of that. But also during that time, and this is what I'm more embarrassed to admit, I think it was at VH1 or was it MTV? I think it was VH1. They came out with a little show called Flavor of Love. And again, I was late to the game. I didn't see it right off the bat, but people kept talking about it and talking about it. I'm like, okay, what is this? So, of course, I watched Flavor of Love, and that was so popular. There was Flavor of Love 2, Flavor of Love 3, and then there was a spin-off of that with one of his girls on there called New York, I Love New York, and then that spun off other shows of people that were on her show, and it became like this whole hierarchy of the Flavor of Love. Then they took contestants from that show and put them in like Charm School with Monique, if you remember that, because they were all, you know, acting crazy on the show. Bret Michaels from Poison got Rock of Love. It was ridiculous, absolutely absurd. But for whatever reason, and it wasn't just me, a bunch of people I work with watched these shows, and they were just like mesmerizing, like complete trash TV, completely mesmerizing. Also, I started watching, I never watched The Real World when it first came on in like the 90s, but I started watching those. I started watching more of The Real World, and then they started doing those challenges with like old real World and Road Rules contestants, and then I started watching a whole bunch of those, and I think they still do those challenges. That's where I first met The Miz, who's now in WWE. But, and then a little later on, I'm stumbling over my words because it's so freaking cold out here. I can hardly breathe. And I am wearing sunglasses even though it's gloomy because I like to wear them. I started watching Jersey Shore. Remember that? That was incredible. Started watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I hung in there up until the Bruce fiasco. And then when Kim, it was around the time where Kim was marrying the basketball player, and then they had their own show, and then that ended in divorce after like a month. And then it was right around the time she was getting with Kanye is when I was done with that show. That was over. But for whatever reason, I was like all in on these reality shows. Then I started watching Hell's Kitchen and all the Gordon Ramsay shows. And it was like, why am I watching these? But I could not stop because they were so good. And then as the other ones were tapering off, and these aren't really reality shows, but I feel like everyone watched these shows on the History Channel. Pawn Stars, and then you had American Pickers, Storage Wars, American Restoration, and then they started branching off with all kinds of other shows based on that. Then there was Hardcore Pawn on, I forgot what channel it was on, and it was in Detroit, along the Great 8 Mile or something. And it was funny because people on that, I mean, it was like it was 100% scripted, but it was hysterical. And I still like to watch clips of that to this day. But I was curious, has anybody out there in YouTubeville watched any of these shows? Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen Flavor of Love? If you have not, I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. I think it was VH1. Absolutely amazing. I Love New York, Real Chance of Love, A Double Shot of Love with Tila Tequila. I mean, there was like show after show after show after show. And then I think those ended when one of the contestants like ended up like murdering his wife and himself, and that ended those shows. Kind of remember that. But right now I don't watch as much. I still watch Big Brother every summer. Caleb and I like to watch Next Level Chef, which should be starting up anytime soon. I don't really watch Hell's Kitchen anymore. I don't watch Survivor. I don't know if The Amazing Race is still on, but I don't really watch that. I don't watch any of those Kardashian crap. No, I don't watch any of that anymore. But there was that moment of time, I believe from like 2015, it was like an explosion in reality. I know it's all, it might not be written on paper, but it's all scripted. I'm not stupid. But there was that moment in time where I feel like everything on TV was some sort of reality show. So please tell me I'm not the only one that watched these shows. Please tell me there are other people out there as insane as me. And like, not only did I watch them, like I really liked them. Now looking back, it's like, what do I watch? But Next Level Chef is really good. So if you've never watched that, I believe that'll be starting up. It usually starts up in like February, maybe March. Can't wait. But until tomorrow, this is going to be great because I don't have to do any editing on this video. The only thing, I might insert a clip right before this with a YouTube short about one take. It's hysterical. You've already seen it. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. Super Bowl is coming. I don't even want to talk about it because I don't care about it at all. But until tomorrow, keep marching on. And I'm sorry this was such a terrible video. Damn it. This is no longer one take because I just cut. But I didn't even mention like so many shows. Do you remember the Hugh Hefner one? Girls Next Door? Oh my gosh, how did I forget that? There was that Gene Simmons one. Was it Family Jewels? Amazing. How did I forget the Osbournes? I feel like every single like B, C, D list stars was having a reality show. Snoop Dogg had a show about his family. I remember that. One of the Jonas Brothers had a reality show. Like everyone had a reality show at some point. And I probably watched a lot of it. But I don't know how I forgot to mention those, especially Osbournes and the Girls Next Door. How did I forget that? But see, that's what happened when I try to do one take. I forget stuff. So this is no longer one take, it's two takes. I'm still going to call it one take. Goodbye.